like Doug's taught me a lot, because he's very honest and authentic and transparent and vulnerable. Like when he does his interviews, he'll sometimes in the early stuff say, "Oh, Doug, you can't say that," and I stopped doing that because I said, "No, you're now editing him so that it doesn't look bad for us."
Mm-hmm.
And I went, no, he can say whatever he wants, and people can take it however they want, because Doug is authentic and he's gone through a lot in his life dealing with high functioning autism, as many people do in whatever circumstance they have. You can't monitor people, go, no, don't say that. Look, no, you be who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to be who you are, and he's inspired me a lot with, especially looking at him now and what he was 5 years ago, 320 pounds. I look at the photos and I'm like, man, you look like you're about to explode.
Well, before you hopped on, Doug and I were actually talking about this because I did see his Facebook post with his, before picture and where he's at now. Yeah. And I said, Doug, that is so inspiring, because weight loss and sticking to a program and staying the course, it's hard.
Yeah.
That is not an easy thing to do. And I commend him, and it's such an inspiration to see that, because I know how hard that is.
It's incredibly hard. And like, Doug will be on there, someone goes, "Oh, Andy, I just made a smoothie," and I'm like, gosh, I've just got a thick shake from In-N-Out Burger. Damn, put it there. Don't tell Doug. Yeah. Doug, I got the protein burger with the lettuce on it. Oh, it's good. And then I got a thick shake. He goes, "What? You got a thick shake?" He goes, "You can't do that. You mentored me." And I said, "Well, you're allowed to once a week." He said, "But didn't you have one last night?" I went, "Oh, I don't know, maybe."
I don't remember.
I remember. Stop coaching me. You're my client.
Yeah. The student has become the teacher.
Yeah, sure has. He sure has. So can I ask you a question? How do you take it, getting back to this, like I was saying, Doug's being authentic and being honest and vulnerable? What's it like for you when you're out in public and you're doing this, but then some people do the old, "Hey, no thanks, don't want it." How do you deal with that?
You just got to take stuff like that with a grain of salt. I mean, everybody's got, like we were talking about, has a story, has a reason why they act and react the way they do. And it's not going to deter me from my mission and that's spreading kindness. It's a matter of showing respect. And that's one thing this world lacks too, is the understanding and respect from person to person. Mm-hmm. Not everybody's going to be super receptive to me handing them a flower and saying, "Have a nice day." They're kind of closed off, and I need to be respectful, but that doesn't keep me from saying, "Have a nice day," and smiling at them, because you never know what that's going to do for somebody. But it's respecting the lines, and not everybody's going to be warm and fuzzy with you, and that's life. That's just life in general,
Yeah. And look, it's like whatever works for you works for you. That's, like people will do tons of different self-help courses or books, and sometimes that's all it takes for someone. They might read one book and go, "Oh, wow, that's perfect." Sometimes you do spend money on so many things and it doesn't work, and you might have to take another avenue. But the thing is, we all function very similarly, but it doesn't work for all of us all the time what works for someone else, as we all know that. So you've just got to keep looking for what works for you, but in a space of calm and standing still. Because when you're rushing around, you're looking for a fix and something and it's not going to happen that way. You've got to stay calm and go, "Okay, what is really not working in my life? What do I need to take care of?" And everything will be running, well, and then one day something will occur and you're like, "What? Everything was going so well," but it's not an emergency. Something's occurred. Something's just happened. And I just keep saying to myself, "Is this an emergency?" Even the other day, I was getting gas, and the guy behind the counter just went stiff, and then he just collapsed. He just fell back, like straight back, hit the ground, and the guy behind him, he went to him, and I got on 911, and he was trying to get up. I think he must have had a fit or something, because the way he went stiff. But it was an emergency, but you can't make it an emergency for you. You've got to be calm. talk to the lady on the phone and she wants details off you. And if you start rushing, she's going, stop, I need you to slow down. So I'm sort of using those analogies in just your little things during life. And it really does help. It really does, you know.
I'm gonna have to steal that one.
Yeah, it's pretty
That
cool.
sounds like it
it's
works.
Yeah, it might be an emergency, but it's not, because, well, yes, it is. But my example is I've seen a lot of car accidents. I had a horrific one about a year ago. Got hit right in the middle of an intersection. A guy hit me about 70 miles an hour, hit the front of the car, and the whole car just exploded. Airbags, smoke, spinning around the road. He hit a big pole, chopped that off. The pole fell on his car, the big street sign, the traffic lights. It was an emergency, but we had to first get out and make sure that we were okay, and we were. And then we went to him, and he was okay. And yeah, it shook us up. But if you run in a panic, then someone's going to go and grab the car with the wires on the car and get electrocuted. Bang, someone's gone again. So I use that every day. Just go, I don't like what just happened, but it's not an emergency. And if I make it one, I'm going to make a mistake somewhere. That's only my deal. I'm not saying it suits everyone.
I like that, because a lot of times we're so quick to react and not put the thought in and take in that moment and that breath to go, okay, what's the best course of action?
I think I said to Doug the other day, okay, can you imagine this? And I've said it to some of my acting clients. I go, when we react to things and get all up and, like blah, 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 or I said, you as an actor, you got to train. I said, regardless of whether you think you're going to make it, if this is what you want to do, don't give up. You've just got to keep training and you've got to keep going. I said, it's like you walk on set, you want to be fully confident in yourself that you've done the work, you've done the training. I said, can you imagine, like a doctor or a pilot, they go through years of training. They don't just go and do one course a week and then become a surgeon. I said, you're the same. You're a professional. You've got to put the work in. You've got to balance areas of life, and you have to make your training time work. There will be nothing worse than on an operating table as you're about to have a minor operation, and just before you go to sleep, the doctor said, "Poor, I hope I remember this. I haven't been to class for a while." Like, that's the last thing you want to hear just before you go to sleep. And that's the last thing a director or a casting director wants to think, that you haven't done the work. So using those analogies and things like that, it just helps you go, nothing's really any different, whether you're a professional training or you're an actor training or you're someone training to make coffees. You've still got to put the work in so that you provide a service and you show up with your training and your skills, whatever area.
Exactly.
Do you do anything else apart from, because I missed the first part of the conversation, do you do anything else apart from, your project with WA? Is there anything else you're involved in the communities at all?
Well, right now, pandemic, it's hard. Before everything got shut down, we would go and cook for the families at Ronald McDowell's house at least once or twice a month. We'd volunteer at the farmers market they had it's called Catholic Charities of Northern Nevada. So they service the at-risk and homeless community in our area. And I used to love going down and doing that, but so much has been shut down because of the restrictions. So it kind of limits what we're able to do, which is why we're thinking outside of the box now, doing the signs of kindness. And now, because we used to go to the retirement homes too, and we do a tour where, my daughter would perform, I'd perform, my husband sings as well. My son sings, and we just get a group of people that would go and we put on like a little show for retirement home residents. And that's been, had the kibosh put on it once COVID hit. So we're working on doing cards of kindness. So we'll be contacting a retirement home once a month, at least getting first names. And then we'll have a group come together and handwrite cards, personalized cards to the residents, just to have that some kind of human touch and involved. But I miss being out in the community and volunteering and people. It's hard.
Well, you're right. And there's one thing you said then in the old folks home, if there's anyone in there that's creative, we also included the elderly on our Spark website and social media platforms, because there's people in elderly homes that are creative and they really don't get a chance to except pin a picture up on a wall or let their family see. We want to give that opportunity for them. Isn't that correct, Doug?
That is right. Yeah.
Now, Doug, so you look like you're falling asleep there. So here's a question for you. What is it that your goals are that you really want to take on now that you've seen this amazing change in transformation in yourself?
To be honest, what I really want to do is become an entrepreneur that will leave an impact on millions of people across the world.
And when you say entrepreneur and impact, what do you mean? In what areas?
Like philanthropy would be one, and I would also say the autism community and any sort of community that sometimes goes through struggles like I did. Struggles that I did, and I even want to go into the film industry if possible. Yeah,
I'd say you'd be a great filmmaker, Doug, with your stories. I think you'd be a great director. In once you get some training behind you for that, because your mind's great, and I think you'd be a great coach too and a mentor.
Yeah, that's another thing I forgot to mention. Yeah, I want to be a coach and mentor like you.
Oh, don't be like me, mate. Don't be like me. Be like you.
Be your own person, Doug.
Yeah, be your own person, mate. Don't be like me. Your mum will kick you
you're
out
ugly anyway.
Yeah, I know, right? Your mum will kick you out the house, mate. Stay with you. Hey, listen, look, it's we better wrap up. But hey, Kristan, this is great. We'd really love to keep track of you and what else you're up to over the next few months and bring you back on once COVID's eased off a little bit and see where you're at. And also Doug too, because normally Doug in these sessions takes over, but I just feel now Doug's got to start sharing his story of what he's up to and the guests we have on, because he is making a big impact very slowly, but he's making a continual impact in, everything that he's doing. And his team leadership skills with Spark are just fantastic. He's grown so much in the last 2 months, taking on leadership roles,
Oh yeah. I mean, his stories, just in the short time I've known him, I mean, you have so much to tell and so much in there to inspire others. And having worked with Andy, what it's like to be the student. And now you can turn that around and, like you said, help mentor others. And you've been there, done that. Like it's not something foreign to you that you're trying to help somebody with. I mean, you've lived that. You've overcome these things, and to be able to take those tools in your toolbox and use them to inspire and really make an impact in other people's lives. That's something special, Doug. And I'm excited to see where you end up and where you take this.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Hey, Kristan, just before we go,
yes.
Sadly, I can't remember who it was, but sadly someone lost their partner, didn't they? Their husbands just recently.
Yeah, it was Lori Music. She's Ms. National United States, and the really pretty, I think it was coral pink gown. She was Arkansas, elite Arkansas.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's sad.
That I can't even imagine, because I know how much I love my husband, and to have it was quick. I mean, they knew, I think something was wrong, but he didn't go to the doctor until, they went to the ER, and I think it was like 24 hours.
Oh, wow.
I started off prayer chains and everything, and it was heartbreaking. I can't, my heart goes out to her, because I can't imagine.
Well, the great thing is with WA, she's got a huge support there behind her.
Definitely.
With the team. So that's what we were just talking about. Sometimes you need that support, and at least she's got a family of support there for anything she needs. So yeah.
And that was, like you said, with a Women of Achievement, that was the one thing I really noticed. This was my first year competing with them, is just the love and the welcoming you felt walking through the door. Yes, it's a competition, but I don't think that any of the women went into it, with those typical pageant stereotypes that you hear about, people ruining clothes or, trying to sabotage or
Yeah,
being.
I know, right?
Yeah,
I didn't see any of that cattiness or experience at all. It was so loving and inclusive.
See, you're right. It's so that's what's good about that pageant. So everyone's just there for everyone else. Now, I must admit, what you just said about someone trying to, sort of, maybe ruin someone's costume. I did have a bit of a problem there on the first day. Yeah, I think Doug was putting water on my chair, and I think he's trying to pull my chair. I think he was trying to get me out so he could take over. If I find out that was you, Doug, you're in trouble, mate.
There was that, and then
you want me to host an investigation?
Between you, Doug, and then poor Andy probably went deaf finals night with my daughter standing behind him, taping and screaming in his ear. So
yeah, and you should see how Andy doesn't have teeth.
Yeah. See what I mean? See, there's no support, Kristan, at all. No
this
support.
Is a loving environment, where you can just share whatever.
I know, right?
Two can play this
thanks,
game.
Thanks, Doug, again. And thanks, Kristan. It's been great. And we do want to keep in touch and just in a couple of months' time see, where you're at and, what things being created with Doug and myself and inspiring other people and, people's stories. And we will share the link for the Spark website. Doug will have that up there. I think it'll be just about there, Doug.
Yep. The link, everybody, is right here. And let's have a moment of silence in memory of Lori Music's husband. Thank you. I want to thank you both for appearing on the show. We'll see you next time on Being Relentless and Unstoppable.
I dare you to fix me.